So let's say I read this book and I embrace all the things that you're talking about. What will the end result of that look like? It's a tough question, right? Because
Yeah, it
I've been
is.
thinking about this and about education. Is that
Yeah.
like, hey, if we do all the things that you say, what will that actually look like? Right? Like, hey, this is the
Yeah.
vision, this is the mission. What will this look like if we do all these things to say? What does that look like in our classroom? Right? Like, I was actually just writing about this before I got on this podcast with you. It was like, hey, we want to be all our kids to be career and college ready, but then actually people don't follow kids when they leave school to see if they achieve those things.
Right.
So it's like, well, how do you know that you actually achieve those things? Are you just saying that for public consumption? Or, like how do I know that, like
Right.
what does that look like, in the end result?
Yeah. I mean, from my perspective, it's going to be healthier relationships throughout your life. Because, who you are at school should be the same person you are in the grocery store and the same person you are at home. And too often educators put all of their patience and energy and focus into their students and don't have enough when they go home. And that's when, some habits and choices, don't align with the values and the principles that they say they espouse at school. And so I think as you go through and you realize that, how you ask a question, whether you're talking to your first grader in your classroom or your ninth grader in your English classroom or your spouse or your own child at home, how you do that is a habit and a choice. Right. And so for me, somebody who reads this book and says, you know what, I'm going to think about how I engage in each conversation. And one of the things I say in that book is that after every interaction, you either built up capital and strengthened the relationship with the person, or you broke it down. You don't really maintain it.
Right.
And so what are you doing to build up those relationships? How are you positively engaging in those? And, where are you at the end of the day? I mean, in terms of, do you still have energy? How much are you putting in your own tank? I think it's a fine line. I think it's something people are talking more and more about coming out of the pandemic, is looking for that. I refer to it in the book as a work-life harmony, not a balance, because I don't know that it should be a perfect 50-50. And there are times where, like, if you're at the beach for a week for vacation in the summer and you're a 12-month administrator, you shouldn't be thinking about work. You should be all in on your family time. Yeah. And there's other times where you have to say to your spouse, I'm not going to be home tonight. I have a board meeting coming up. I have to meet with the superintendent, whatever it is. You're going to be leaning a little heavier towards work. But at the end of the week, end of the month, end of the year, how was your rhythm? Were you able to seamlessly go back and forth?